be a Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. To protect your brother, even from himself. To give support at your own expense. And when wearing the black and gold suit of armor, make sure nobody desecrates it, disrespects it. Most importantly, we ourselves don't dishonor it. From previous legends who have donned the black and gold. These virtues I learned while playing for the Steelers are what make the legacy of the black and gold timeless. They are passed down in the locker room from the steel curtain to anyone who valiantly wears the black and gold. Creating a brotherhood that is deeper than money, business, and winning. To be a Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. This is our culture, Steeler culture.
Now, here are your hosts, Rob and Dan, the Steel Twins.
Steelers Nation, how you doing? Thank you guys for tuning in for yet another edition of the Steeler Culture Podcast, where we break down Pittsburgh Steelers football. This episode is powered by our great friends over at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, and we are here today live on this Friday night to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers versus Washington Commanders Week 10 matchup. The Steelers are fresh off a much-needed and much-necessary bye week. Now, their first challenge of a very, very strict and very difficult schedule up ahead is a Washington Commanders 7-2 football team.
7-2.
See what I did there?
Yes.
See what I did there?
Yes.
Football team.
Well, first of all, I would rather not call them the football team because the last time we faced Washington, we know what happened.
I forgot about that.
At home, 4 years ago.
I forgot about that.
They ended our 11-0
Good old John Bostic. You know?
Yes.
Still a legend, by the way.
Yes. Yes, who could ever remember that call where they tried to throw the ball to Anthony McFarland, I believe.
Ah, good old Anthony McFarland. How, you know.
What a great call by Randy Fichtner. Remember that? Anyway, that was 4 years ago, man. We faced the Commanders, or Washington, every 4 years. A lot of history between these two teams. See, it's funny, because prior to that game, we beat the Commanders every single year since 1991.
That's right.
And now they're coming off of a win 4 years ago against us. And
which was in our territory, by the way.
It was. Now, we head over to Washington for our first game after the bye versus the 7-2 Commanders. This is the first time they're 7-2 since 1996.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time when it comes to the Washington fans over there.
Almost 30 years.
Yeah.
It's been, wow.
A long time.
7-2 isn't easy, man. It is not easy. That's what the Steelers are trying to get to. 7-2 is not easy, but to get to 7-2 would be great, especially defeating a great Washington Commanders football team. And I do believe this Commanders team is great. I think it has a lot of potential. It has a bright future. Everything they've done throughout the offseason, what they did via the draft, and what they've shown so far midway through the season has been incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you can describe that team in a variety of different words, but the one word that comes to me when it comes to the Commanders this season is very impressive.
Very.
Like the talent that they got, the coaching staff that they have established with Dan Quinn leading the charge in his first year as Commanders head coach. Like,
well, everything that's happened ever since they got Dan Snyder out of town.
Yeah, Josh Harris is the new owner, and everything it's going positive over there for Washington right now.
It is. I think the fans deserve it, and it's good to see them finally find some success because they have a lot of history, and they've been on the downside of mediocrity for a long time now. So to see them have some success is fun to watch as a football fan in general, but it's not going to be an easy task for the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. It is not. It's not going to be like the last 3 games where they had the Raiders and the Jets and the Giants.
No. I mean, it's in the title. I mean, this is the Steelers' biggest test yet.
Yes, it is.
And it's even more of a test considering what happened last night for Thursday Night Football with Baltimore picking off the win against Cincinnati.
Yes.
With the AFC North rankings and the standings at the moment. So this is a crucial matchup coming up for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes, it is, man. We're going to get into all of it. We're going to talk about everything for the Steelers versus Washington Commanders Week 10 preview. But we want to thank you guys for joining us on this Friday night as we preview Week 10 Steelers versus Commanders. This is definitely going to be one of the more must-watch games of the weekend of Week 10 for NFL Sunday. So we appreciate you guys for joining us. Hope you guys had a great week. Hope you guys had a very successful winning week. Me personally, I did. As for my parlays, not necessarily.
No, especially last night, bro. I feel for you. I do.
I'd rather not talk about it. I'd rather not. If you guys follow us on social media or X, you guys know. I've had the past 2 weeks. I've had the worst luck, the absolute shits worst luck. Swear jar. I can't catch a break.
No.
Everything is lost by at least 1 point, 1 yard, 1 assist.
Like any other time, they would get the yardage that necessary, but once you put a parlay on it, they just don't do it.
Well, also the last 2 NFL games, I would have won if it wasn't for a fucking penalty. But
yes, swear jar, I know.
I'm not here to banter about that. You guys want to hear about that. But I do want to give a huge shout to the sponsor of today's video. Shout to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us this NFL season. Week 10 is among us. We are now in double-digit weeks. Crazy, man. We're halfway through the season.
Already Week 10, man.
It is already Week 10,
wow.
Bro. But you guys got all the Week 10 games here. Unfortunately, we got the Giants and Panthers early Sunday. I mean, I suppose it's better than nothing, but that game just sounds very depressing to watch. I feel bad for Germany.
What did Germany do to deserve that?
I don't know. But we got all the Week 10 games, Bills and Colts, Vikings, Jags, Steelers, Commanders. If you guys look at the betting lines here, the Commanders are the favorite. The Steelers are the underdog. And actually, the Commanders are 3-point favorites.
3-point favorites.
3-point favorites. The over-under is 45, which, I mean, this could go either way. We could get flashes of both offenses starting to get electric, or we could see a very defensive game. It could go either way because I do think both offenses will be tested, and I think these 2 offenses are going up against some of the better defenses they've gone up all season. So it should be an interesting watch. But if you guys want to put in any of your wagers for this game or any of the Week 10 games, feel free to go to betus.com. Take advantage of a great 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at betus.com today. Take advantage of all that. Plus, they have live wagering on all major sports, including all of Week 10. So if you guys want to get involved in that action, BetUS is a sports book for you guys this season. So thanks to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us this live stream. Just please gamble responsibly. Now, we get into the Washington Commanders, man. Again, 7-2, first time in almost 30 years. They are first place in the NFC East.
Yes, indeed.
I think they have not a comfortable lead, but they got a solid lead so far.
Philly's like right behind them, and I know they face Philly next Thursday. That's next Thursday night's football game, Philly and Washington. So, I mean, Philly's kind of like right behind them. I wouldn't say they're creeping up right behind them, but they are behind them. But, the Commanders, I mean, they're a team that the Steelers cannot take lightly. This will not be an easy task for the Steelers, just based off of, on the talent standpoint and a coaching standpoint. For what they've done throughout the first half of the season is just very impressive by the Commanders.
Well, not just the first half of the season. I mean, you got to tell all the way back to the offseason, man. I mean, they completely revamped everything. When I mean everything, I'm talking about the entire coaching staff, the quarterback situation, everything. Like, they went from Ron Rivera, Eric Bieniemy, and Jack Del Rio to, what's his name? Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn,
Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator, and Joe Witt Jr. Like, that is an impressive overhaul. And you see where it's gotten them. Dan Quinn has always been a very solid head coach. Now he gets a second chance as head coach in the NFL, and he's led the Commanders to this. Joe Witt Jr. has been a guy that's followed Dan Quinn since, I think, Dan Quinn's last year in Atlanta.
Yeah, back in 2020, he was the passing game coordinator and the secondary coach. And wherever Quinn went, because afterward, when Quinn was fired from Atlanta, he went to Dallas for the DC coordinator position, to which Quinn basically, reestablished how he was as a coach.
Yeah, and Witt followed, and now obviously when Quinn got the job, he made Witt the defensive coordinator, and he brought in Cliff Kingsbury, who is a much better coordinator than he was a head coach.
Yeah.
That is obviously shown. And, Cliff Kingsbury has always been known as the guy that knows how to build quarterbacks. He develops quarterbacks well as an offensive mind, as a coordinator.
Yeah, his resume, it just speaks for itself. Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams, just last college year with USC.
And now the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah, so he went from one big quarterback prospect to now the other one. So, this man's resume, again, it speaks for itself, and it just continues to pile up. And, yeah, Jayden Daniels just leading the charge, as their quarterback.
I also think one of their biggest additions was their new general manager. Adam Silver is killing it so far. They just traded for Marshawn Lattimore at the deadline. Now, he's not going to play this game. He'll be out with a hamstring. But you see what their defense is doing without him. Now you add a healthy Lattimore into that secondary, into that defense. Washington is trending in the right direction.
Big time.
Jayden Daniels is absolutely Offensive Rookie of the Year so far. I think he's running away with it personally. I don't think it's even close. I know the next guy in line will probably be Caleb, but I honestly think Daniels is running away with it. He is performing very well. Like, he has all the tangibles to be such a great quarterback in the NFL. It shows that, the league isn't too big for him.
No.
He's so up to speed already. It's impressive.
Yeah, I remember just watching his highlights at LSU last year. He was the Heisman Trophy winner for a reason last year, and I knew that he had the utmost potential and just the skill to really make it in the NFL. And luckily, the Commanders were able to select him, Dan Quinn's first pick as Commanders head coach. And it's just, so far, it is paying off. And I do agree. I think he's the front runner for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Nearly 2,000 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions thrown. Only 2. In fact, the Commanders overall as an offense have only turned the ball over 3 times.
That's it.
3 times. That's it. Very, very, very similar to the Steelers offense in the sense where they're so protective of the football and they can show life. They can show the ability to make chunk plays and perform in every aspect in the air and on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, this Commanders offense, heading into this game, they're the 3rd best rushing offense in the league, but they're the 3rd best overall offense.
Total.
That's impressive. Led by a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
And to be real with you, not to discredit any of the extra receivers, but they literally only have one legitimate, true number 1 receiver in Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, who is very scary.
Mm-hmm.
Guy's a demon, bro. All he needed was a legitimate quarterback, and now he finally has one. He stuck it out all those rough years through Washington, and now he has a legitimate quarterback. Good for Scary Terry, and good for the Commanders. So when you look at this matchup against the Steelers defense, they will be tested, absolutely, because they can run the ball. Now, they won't be with Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson is out for this game, so that's a big loss.
Yeah, I think this is his second week actually missing a game for the Commanders, so they're going to be without their top back. But, there's a reason why they brought in a guy like Austin Eckler in because of that experience and just Eckler's reliability, as a running back. They also have Jeremy McNichols, who's been a very reliable piece as the 3rd running back. And, of course, you can't sleep on Jayden Daniels' feet on how he's able to run the ball.
He has 459 rushing yards.
Yeah.
To go along with 4 rushing touchdowns.
So they obviously still know how to run the football.
And one thing I see when I look at the stat sheet is you look at these running backs, and the average yards per carry is impressive. First of all, Robinson is averaging 4.6, but Eckler is averaging 5.6. McNichols is averaging 5.4.
Yeah.
This is a rushing offense that can get some plays on the ground.
And not only that, but get into the end zone because in total they have 15 rushing touchdowns.
That's incredible.
In total.
So, yes, this Steelers defense, especially in the run defense department, will be tested because we all saw what they did versus the Giants, what they allowed to Tyron Tracy, a rookie.
Yeah.
145 yards and a big run for a touchdown. So the Steelers' rushing defense will 100% be tested. And although they won't be with Brian Robinson, they'll be without him, they can still make plays in that area. And I would definitely won't sleep on Jayden Daniels' legs. You can't. That's how great of a dual threat he is.
Mm-hmm.
He can hit you deep. He can hit you in the intermediate. He can hit you short. He can run the ball. Like, he's such an advanced quarterback at this stage of his career. It's very impressive. But one thing you notice about the Commanders' offense as a whole is they just breed explosiveness. They execute chunk plays. They execute all this big playability, which kind of worries me because one of the biggest negatives about the Steelers' defense through the first half of the season was all the big plays that they were allowing. Now, at the same time, they were coming away with a bunch of turnovers. The Steelers have 15 turnovers this season, 10 of them being interceptions.
Yeah, so the defense, I mean, like, they can clutch out a big play, a big sack, or a turnover at that. So they can definitely be able to garner one of those when it matters the most. But the big chunk plays that they have been allowing to lesser talent, that's something that we have to see less of because we're going to need the defense to be on their A game big time.
Yes, I'm hoping that throughout the bye week they were able to improve on some of the mistakes, the negatives, the errors, and they can go up against a feisty, legitimate offense, one of the best statistically in the league, and have a stronger performance. Now, I will say this about Jayden Daniels. He's had a great rookie year. He will probably win Offensive Rookie of the Year, as he should. He might win Rookie of the Year overall.
Maybe.
But, and not to discredit anything with Washington, because I could also say the same thing about the Steelers, they really haven't faced a defense like the Steelers. You look at their schedule, they're 7-2. You can't take that away from them. It is hard to be 7-2 in this league. Can't take it away from them. But the two losses they suffered was Week 1 versus the Bucks and versus the Ravens. In fact, any legitimate offense that has any threatening ability to them, they have allowed some points. They have allowed a decent amount of yardage compared to the other teams that they have faced. So I do want to add that. I don't want to take anything away from them, but I do think that in this matchup, Washington will be tested just as much as the Steelers will be. And I think Jayden Daniels will be tested the biggest he's ever been tested all season because Jayden Daniels has not faced a defense like the Steelers. Are they, capable of giving up a lot of plays, a lot of yardage? Yes. But can they force turnovers? Absolutely. Daniels has done a very good job at preventing that, at being safe with the football. But I don't think Daniels has faced a defense that is able to force turnovers the way the Steelers is. I don't think he's faced a pass rush that is as capable of getting to the quarterback as the Steelers. So Daniels will 100% be tested. And that's up to the Steelers defense to come and give him a legitimate welcome. Like, hey, you've had a great season, but welcome to the NFL. Welcome to one of the best defenses in the league when we want to be. So this defense is going to have to step up and really get to Daniels.
That's where their preparation for this game is going to have to come into play. They can't just look at Jayden Daniels and think, oh, you're just a rookie quarterback, like this. And we're the highest paid defense. We're a great defense. There's going to be a walk in the park, right? They can't think that way. Like, they got to prepare for one of the better and one of the more up and rising guys in the NFL, and Jayden Daniels. He's a man that just knows how to make a play, how to make the proper decisions, very good at protecting the football, very, very good at executing plays, and at the same time, just getting points on the board.
Yes.
So,
because
though your statement right there, I absolutely agree with you. You still don't want to take them lightly just based off that, just because of the competition they faced. I mean, they're still a very talented team with a great offensive coordinator at that leading the way.
Absolutely, because even though I say they haven't really faced any legitimate competition or anything crazy, I could say the exact same thing about the Steelers. I don't want to sound hypocritical here. I could say the exact same thing about the Steelers. They've won 3 very good games. They've beaten the Raiders. They blew out the Raiders. They blew out the Jets. They should have blew out the Giants. Very good, right? That's exactly what you want to do. That's exactly what the Steelers should be doing against teams like that. Very similar to what Washington is doing against teams that they're facing. So I could say the same thing, which is why I think both of these teams match up so well against each other, because this will be their biggest test for each of them,
right,
on both sides of the ball. This is going to be a fun battle. It really is. But against Washington, I think the Steelers defense is really going to have to get to Daniels. They're going to have to stop the run.
But that's interesting. You say getting to Daniels, because over the past 3 weeks on Washington's 3-win streak right now, They've only given up 3 sacks within the past 3 weeks throughout that win streak.
That's true.
None of them, no sacks were given up against the Giants last week. Keep in mind, the Giants got 4 sacks on us last time we played.
And that was with a rookie left tackle.
Yeah.
And Brandon Coleman from TCU, a third-round pick,
So
who will be starting again this week against Alex Hopkins.
And I think that's a testament of what the Commanders' offensive line really is. It's more than reliable. It's a very solid line that's still in the stages of development, but those guys can hold their own. They can get the job done. I mean, they've only given up 17 sacks in general to Jayden Daniels.
Right. And another thing I want to add about the Commanders and their explosiveness is they have scored 30 or more points in 4 games this season. 4. And in half of those games, they've scored 40 or more. Wow. They can definitely get explosive, man. They are a feisty offense. They can make plays down the field. They can put points on the board. Obviously, they were one of the better scoring offenses in the league. Despite whoever they were facing, I mean, we can't underestimate that. We can't. But I will say, I think, again, Daniels hasn't faced a defense like us, so perhaps he's going to be well tested. The Steelers are going to have to prepare. They're going to have to come in and really, make sure Daniels is as limited as they can. And I think a big reason and I'd say a benefit and an advantage for that is they have the guys on their team that can model what Daniels can do in practice to be able to prepare for a guy like Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, they've done it several times, in the past, especially going up against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens twice a year. So they're very used to doing that type of stuff in practice, preparing for situations and quarterbacks like that. So this is no stranger. The Steelers are no stranger to this.
No, but still, I don't want to underestimate the depth or the offense in general because, again, Daniels is going good right now. Their rushing offense is hitting on all cylinders, and their pass targets. Yeah, they have Terry McLaurin. Zach Ertz is still a very reliable target. Noah Brown caught that Hail Mary against the Bears a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, they still got legitimate receivers. Luke McCaffrey, I'm still waiting for them to get him involved. Was he a 3rd-round pick, I believe?
He was, yeah.
I mean, they still got weapons, man. I mean, Eckler also is a dual threat, so I don't want to sleep on anything.
Nope.
You
can't.
I do think that the Steelers can match up well. I do think that the Commanders are going to have a big test against the Steelers defense, but I still want them to go in. I still want the defense to go in humbled and, just preparing for everything because they're going to have to. And the chunk plays they've allowed, they gotta bring that down to a minimum. They got to minimize that as much as they can. We can anticipate a chunk play here and there. They're not going to completely eliminate it, but they got to eliminate it to some degree. They can't be allowing all this crazy yardage. They can't be allowing all this chunk yardage, all these big plays down the field.
Indeed.
They got to be able to limit that and pretty much just try to limit this Washington offense that is capable of doing everything possible, of executing in every aspect you ask them to.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, the Steelers' defense will 100% be tested. Their biggest test to date, I would argue. But I could say the same thing about Washington's offense. Now, regarding the Steelers' offense versus Washington's defense, I would say the Steelers' offense has a decent matchup. And the reason I say that is going back to Washington's schedule. Any legitimate offense that they were able to go up against or that they did go up against when they had when the Bucs had a fully healthy team, they put up 37 week 1. The Ravens, when they lost to the Ravens, they put up 30. They put up 30 points.
Yeah.
Versus the Bengals. I mean, the Commanders beat the Bengals, but the Bengals still put up 33 points. So any offenses that have any legitimacy to them, they can still allow chunk plays. They can still allow points. They can still allow, some substance from the opposing offense. I'm not trying to compare the Steelers offense to any of them because they still have issues. They still have a lack of getting in the end zone and some execution. But what we've seen the last couple of weeks with Russell Wilson, the quarterback, this offense gives us a lot of confidence and a lot of hope that, hey, they can do that consistently. They can keep that up. They can be an offense that can be legitimate, that can be threatening, that can challenge teams, that can keep the Steelers in a game, that can win Steelers football games.
Of course.
An offense that I haven't been able to say all that in a long time. So Washington's defense, I will say, they are what? The 5th best passing defense in the league?
5th best passing. And that's before Lattimore's even going to be added.
Yes. But
again, going back to the competition, their 3-game win streak, they faced the likes of Andy Dalton, Caleb Williams. Williams even have 150 passing yards on them, and Daniel Jones.
right.
So, not trying to take anything away from that defense, because when I look at the defense and the depth chart, it's loaded with talent. It's loaded with a lot of potential.
Well, that defensive line alone, man.
That front seven, absolutely. I know they lost Jonathan Allen back. I think it was earlier in the season. It was I think it was a pectoral injury. Unfortunately, he's out for the season, which is a big loss for them. But I know they have a stud guy to replace him, and Johnny Newton, their second round selection.
Yes.
Out of Illinois. So very promising rookie. Another one on the secondary is Mike Samerstil. We were big fans of him.
Huge fans of Samerstil
from Michigan. Very
huge fans.
Very Mike Hilton like model right there. Very esque Mike Hilton, just play style. And with the acquisition of Lattimore now being the number 1, they can just now put Samerstil back into the slot primarily in the nickel position. That's just filthy right there.
That is, and they still got Forbes, a first rounder a couple years ago. They got St. Juice, that's been a constant starter there. They added Jeremy Chin in the offseason. They got playmakers in that secondary. But at the same time, I still think they are capable of allowing plays down the field. Russell Wilson and Pickens and all the other targets have shown you that they can make the plays down the field. They can get aggressive. They can literally be a threatening offense. They can have a legitimate passing attack. So we're going to need to see more of that from the offense. We're going to see some consistency and a little more growth in that case as well. We're going to need Pickens to continue to be Pickens. The last 2 weeks, he's had great games. Calvin Austin has been a very good receiver stepping up. We'll see what Van Jefferson can do. And obviously, this will be Mike Williams' first game as a Steeler. Number 18 over there at wide receiver 2. What will be his impact? How much time will he play? What are his targets going to look like? How is Arthur Smith going to draw him up? That's going to be an interesting watch. But although I look at our passing attack, I look at Wilson and the momentum that they're bringing in after the bye, I do like the matchup. I really do. I think this offense, I think the passing attack can find some success. In fact, they're going to need to in this game. They got to challenge Daniels and that offense in a similar way. But I think, obviously, what we've seen in the biggest success for the Steelers offense the past couple of weeks has been specifically Najee Harris. 3 straight 100-yard games. That's never happened to him before in his professional career, or collegiate career.
And looking at, the front seven is very loaded, very stacked. Deron Payne, Johnny Newton, like I said, Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, quite the veteran, Dante Fowler, they got a very good front seven, but their rush defense is obviously their weakest link. They are the 29th ranked rush defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
They're not good at stopping the run. So you guys already know the recipe on what the Steelers got to do for success for this game. And what Najee has been done off to the best start of his NFL career, his Steelers career so far. Why step away from it?
Yeah.
If it's working, just keep on doing it.
They're allowing 143 yards a game and 5.1 yards a carry.
And again, Najee is just on a different type of a rampage right now. The guy's just running all over defenders. He's taking people's ankles. He's getting a lot of chunk rushing plays, which we never see from Najee Harris.
And you know what's incredible? You know what's very exciting about that? We're getting Zach Frazier back.
That's
Zach
right.
Frazier will be. He's missed the last 2.5 games. He will be back for this.
Yeah, he's not on the injury report. He's fully healthy, and it's just great to see our actual natural center at center again.
That's huge. We're gonna have Zach Frazier back in the middle at center, so that's gonna be great. Mm-hmm. And I would say let's get Warren involved more. He had the bye week to get 100%. He hasn't really had that opportunity to really showcase his explosiveness all season. I think in the second half of the season, we ought to start giving him the ball more.
And not only Warren, but, Cordero Patterson, he's fully healthy. He's good to go. He's not on the injury report. Yep. So, getting him back, that's another add to the rushing attack for the offense in general.
Right.
Just another weapon, just another guy that, despite his age, he's a guy that can still play. So just to get that 3-headed monster there with Najee, Warren, and Patterson, going up against this 29th ranked rush defense, it's just what you got to do.
Yeah, that's just a recipe for success, man. So if the Commanders want to try to run the ball on us, we got to respond in a similar way. But I think our rushing offense is a little more threatening. Now, we don't have a rushing quarterback to kind of oppose that, but I still think we have the playmakers, the ball carriers, the running backs to just find a lot of success. We've seen all of them make plays down the field this season. So let's keep feeding those guys. I don't see why we should step away from it, especially when you look at the negatives from the Commanders' defense.
Yeah.
I mean, on paper, statistically, the Commanders' defense looks solid, but I think they are exposed. I think we can expose them. I think they are very vulnerable. I think they are. They have some injuries, and I think the Steelers can take advantage of that. I think they're a very vulnerable defense, and as long as this offense can remain consistent and keep getting plays down the field and doing what they got to do and executing in every asset possible, I feel very confident that this offense can have another very good game. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I do think they will be well tested because I don't want to sleep on Washington at all. I don't. They're 7-2 for a reason. But at the same time, one thing I ask for the Steelers to do is finish
their drives.
You got to get in the end zone.
When you're in the red zone, I mean, you got to finish. You got to get points on the board because the Commanders, I mean, they're averaging a little over 29 points per game. Like, they can get points on the board, so the Steelers have to respond with points on the board.
Yeah.
They have to get into the end zone. And I think one of the factors that, that could help them aid in that is a healthy Justin Fields. He's good to go. That hamstring is fine and dandy.
Are you suggesting some Justin Fields packages?
Yes, because Tomlin talked about, potentially utilizing some of that for the Giants game until Fields tweaked his hamstring. It was only minor. Thank goodness for the bye week and Fields is fully healthy. If they are in a predicament where they are in the red zone, I think that's where they got to use Justin Fields.
100%. They're doing themselves a massive disservice if they don't use Fields in the red zone. You have to.
The guy's got 5 rushing touchdowns. The guy's got 10 touchdowns in general, and that's all from the red zone.
Well, obviously, yeah, all his rushing touchdowns are in the red zone. So if the Steelers
utilize those legs, utilize his red zone threat, utilize that ability.
That would improve our red zone efficiency. Because we just can't finish drives in the red zone. But one of the biggest reasons why they have been able to get some touchdowns, especially early on in the season, is because of Fields' legs. So if they do happen to get in the red zone and pretty often, like very much like potentially not last week, but against the Giants, they were 0-4 in the red zone. 0-4. Now, I wonder if Fields wasn't hurt and he didn't tweak his hamstring prior to that game, could they have used Fields in the red zone? That's an unknown. But perhaps in this game, maybe that's something that they entertain. That's something they ought to entertain because that's exactly what's going to allow us to execute and finish drives and get in the end zone and get points on the board and potentially win this football game.
Yeah, and going 0-4 in the red zone, though you got the win against the Giants, it's still inexcusable. With the guys that you got on offense and the fact that you're able to get down the field and collect the yardage necessary but not able to finish the drives, it's still inexcusable.
Yeah, and we all love Bos, but too much Boswell. Okay, this is the second half of the season. This is against a legitimate team with a bright future. They're 7-2 for a reason. They're at the top of their division. In fact, both these teams are at the top of their division. And this is a battle of 2 division leaders. And frankly, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, if the Steelers lose, then the Ravens are back on top.
Yeah.
Because at least the Ravens beat the Commanders. And that's going into a matchup where obviously after this game, we got the Steelers and Ravens, and that's going to be battle for first place.
Yeah.
So I'd much rather not be in that predicament. I'd rather just win this game against a legitimate team. And this offense, man, they have to finish drives, man. They got to limit the penalties, especially, and they got to finish when they go down the field. They have shown you that they can go down the field. They can do everything that you need them to do, except put the points on the board consistently. From the bye week, that's got to be one of the biggest things you've improved on. And any way you can get in the end zone is a great way. If you got to use Fields, do it. If you want to chuck it up to Pickens, do it.
If you want to utilize the tight ends and Muth and Darnell, do it. I mean, those guys are freaking tall as hell.
Mike Williams. We just got another big body 50-50 guy.
Well, that's a 6'4", freaking 210-pound wide receiver that is, when he was with the Chargers, one of the better contested catch wide receivers in the NFL.
So any way they can get in the end zone, man, you got to finish drives if you get down the field.
Just a way to utilize, your players and your targets to the best of their ability in the right circumstances. Whatever helps in aiding in the Steelers getting points on the board and just helping the red zone efficiency.
And one of the things I don't want to look away from is they got to be safe with the football. They have been great at that all season. But this is the second half of the season. They can't force those mistakes. They can't turn the ball over. The Commanders have forced 8 turnovers total, 3 of them being interceptions. So they don't force a lot of turnovers, but just because they don't doesn't mean they can't.
Exactly.
The Steelers' offense cannot force the ball. They can't turn the ball over because, believe me, Washington will take advantage. They can put points on the board, and best bet for sure, if they're able to get any turnovers, I would be very fearful that they're going to capitalize and put points on the board. They're going to capitalize off of the turnovers. The offense got to be very safe in that department.
Yeah.
Because once they start turning the ball over, that's when the Steelers will start losing football games, especially a game like this.
Just keep a hold of that football, man. Hold it tight.
So there's a lot of things that this offense is going to have to be on their A game for. They got to minimize the penalties. They got to get the ground game going. I think they can still strike the ball down the field. Russell Wilson has been very good, very consistent at executing with that, with several targets, and now you just add Mike Williams with that as well. So I feel very confident in that. But they also got to finish drives, and they got to be protective of the football. And I think this offensive line is going to have another solid game. You know, Broderick Jones is really going to have to step up this second half of the season. Him especially, is going to have to limit the pressures. He's going to have to limit the sacks, and especially the penalties. The fact that we got Zach Frazier back will be great. McCormick has been solid. Dan Moore, you know, he's been very good actually this year.
Yeah.
So the O-line, they got to come to play as well. They got to give these guys opportunities. They got to give Wilson the time, and clearly you got to feed the ground game. So when you look at this matchup, yeah, statistically the Commanders are one of the top defenses, especially in the passing defense. But I think they are capable of giving up plays. I think they are vulnerable. So that's where the Steelers are going to have to. That's where the Steelers are going to have to come and eat. That's where the Steelers are going to have to take advantage. That's where the Steelers are going to have to strike. I really hope so, and I do feel confident that they can, because we've seen it with Russ, we've seen it with Fields, we've seen it. But now Russ with 2 games in and the bye and everything to improve and stuff to grow on, I think this offense has a lot of momentum coming its way. You just got to improve on some of the easiest things and execute. So I feel very confident about the offensive game set for the Steelers. I really do. As for the defense, man, again, you know, their biggest test to date, but I could say the same thing about the Commanders' offense. Force the turnovers. Get to Daniels. Stop the run. With that being said, don't sleep on Washington.
No, of course not. You can't.
Because, yeah, you can look at their schedule. You can look at who they faced and what they did against those teams. Again, I could say the same thing about the Steelers. I really can. So these are 2 teams that are almost one and the same. They're divisional leaders. They have a great record, one of their best records they've had in a while, and they've beaten lower teams for sure. And this is a game where both teams are going to have their best challenge to date against each other.
Yeah, but even going against those lower tier teams, they've done it in a fashion to which that you would honestly, from a talent standpoint, you'd expect them to perform at.
Exactly.
So the Commanders 7-2, the Steelers 6-2. You know, both 3-game win streaks right now. I mean, this is the biggest test for both teams. It's going to be one hell of a battle down for the Commanders and for the Steelers. I mean, and for this game, for the Steelers especially, I mean, it's more important now than ever, considering that, again, Baltimore took out and beat Cincinnati last night, Thursday Night Football, and now they're just right behind us, breathing down our neck for first place.
Yeah, they got a little. They got to speed up a little bit before Ravens start catching up, because next week's game could be a lot more intense. So yeah, they're gonna have to win this game. They really are. But I think this is a well even matchup for both teams. You know, the best matchup to date on either side. I think both offenses are capable of striking and executing and getting points on the board for sure. But I think both defenses are also capable of silencing certain things. So I don't exactly know what to expect from this game. It could go either way. This could be defensive, or this could be one of those very offensive showcases.
Yeah.
From both teams. I see this as being one of the very few games from the Steelers where, you know, they're really going to have to step up, and this could come down to the wire. This could be very close. They could pull off the upset. As we stand right now, I do feel confident that they can pull off the upset. I do. I feel very confident that the Steelers can, you know, coming off the bye and having some momentum on their side, and a lot to fight for, especially with the division matchups coming up.
Exactly.
They have a lot to fight for.
Yeah, because after this, we got 4 straight AFC North divisional matchups.
Yeah, they still have a chip on their shoulder, man. They still got something to prove.
So they need to go out there and just play competitive. And that's the thing that I want to see most importantly, is just against a team like the Commanders, from a talent and coaching standpoint, they got to remain competitive.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to see is the Steelers get blown out off their bye. That's the last thing I
don't
want to see.
expect that.
I'm not saying I'm not expecting
I
it
don't
either, but
expect
that's the
that.
last thing I want to see. I want to see the Steelers remain competitive and taking the Commanders to their limit. I think that they have the talent for it. I think they have indicated it several times throughout the first half of the season.
Right.
They have to take them to the limit. They have to be competitive. They just have to go out there and strike.
But you know the Commanders are going to try to do one the same.
Absolutely.
They're going to bring it right back.
I would expect no less from this team this year.
Like, again, both of these teams are one and the same in terms of their schedule and what they showcase. But against the teams they've faced, they have shown you the ability. They can be threatening. They can be legitimate. So this is going to be one of those very, very even matchups. So I'm very excited for this. Like, this is one of the more exciting games for Week 10 out of the entire schedule. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Steelers go up against a rookie like Daniels. It's going to be interesting to see how Daniels goes up against a defense like the Steelers. His toughest one to date, I would absolutely say.
The pass rush like the Steelers as well,
Yeah, and I would think that the offense is going to be tested for sure. But I think this offense just has a better matchup than what the Commanders' offense does. And I mean that because I think this defense is still strong. They are vulnerable. They can give up plays. They give up too much chunk yardage. We all know that. But I think that our defense is better than their defense, and I think we can match up well against the Commanders. I think we can match up well against Daniels. But I think one of the biggest ways to do that is that's going to start with the offense, where not only they got to put points on the board, they got to sustain some drives. They got to keep that offense off the field. They got to keep the defense fresh.
Time of possession will be key.
Yes, it will.
It's going to be very key. This matchup, man, the Commanders and Steelers, I mean, it is the biggest test today for both teams. It's going to be a must-see matchup for any fan at that throughout the NFL.
Yeah.
But Steelers, man, they got to come out and they got to win.
Yeah, man. I mean,
It's going to be on the road. I mean, it's enemy territory, but I know Steelers Nation, you know, they wherever they play, they're going to travel. No fan base travels unlike the Steelers fan base.
Always a
Steelers
home game
Nation.
is what they say, right?
So, you know, like just take over that stadium, and the Steelers, man, they just got to feed off of that. They got to feed off that, and they just got to go out there. They got to perform. They got to play lights out. They got to be on their A game, the defense especially, but the offense got to click, and they got to get into the end zone, score points.
There is a poll in the chat. How many rushing yards from Najee Harris? 39% of you guys say 90+. Could he go for another 100? Can he go for another Benjamin?
I'm confident he can.
I think he can, too.
I'm very confident he can.
He is, dude. He is running like a man possessed. He's running with something to prove. He's running like he wants a contract.
Exactly. And I stated several weeks ago, like he's running a little bit more angrier, and he's a bit more chippier than he normally is.
I honestly think a lot of it has to do with, you know, the fact that the Steelers declined his fifth-year option. And honestly, it just might be the scheme. I think the scheme is really starting to fit him. I think he's starting to get a lot more comfortable. He's starting to find a lot more success.
Yeah. And just a line just able to make the plays and get the holes necessary for Najee.
It's also the fact that he has two legitimate quarterbacks to work behind, and they now have a passing attack to open up the run game. So good for Najee, man. I'm very excited for Najee, and I'm hoping he has another strong one. I'm hoping he has another really good game in this one. I'm very confident he can because the matchup is, again, very favorable for Najee's odds. I really like this matchup for Najee. I like the matchup for the rushing offense or the Steelers offense in general. So what I'm really looking forward to this game, though, outside of the fact that these two teams are well even against each other, is what have the Steelers improved on? Is this going to be a different team from what we saw the first 8 games? Is this going to be an improved team from what we saw the first 8 games? Or is it going to be one the same where the mistakes are still consistent, where the mistakes are still constant, where the same flaws haven't really changed, where the same flaws are still there? What new team did we get after the bye or during the bye? That's what I want to see from the Steelers team is where did they improve? Their mistakes, where did they pick up on? That's what I want to see.
How much growth are we going to see from this team? How much growth?
And I think that's really going to set the tone for this second half of the season.
And just how well prepared is this team going to be heading into game day, week by week?
But one thing I love about this team and as they go ahead is just how healthy they are.
Very healthy. And again, they're getting some guys back.
They are, man. Like, this is the healthiest Steelers team I've seen in many years.
Like, the defense, the whole starting defensive line is completely healthy, something that we never see the past many years.
Watt, Hayward, Highsmith are all healthy. We're getting Nick Herbig not back this week.
No,
but
he's
potentially
out
next week.
But that's one of the reasons why they made the
trade.
addition of Preston Smith.
Yeah, huge. So Preston Smith will get some importance for this game for sure.
Yeah, and he's back into the style and the scheme that fits him the best in the 3-4.
Not just that, but he's going up against the team that drafted him too.
That's right. So he's got a little chip on his shoulder, I bet.
Definitely, so it's kind of fitting for Preston Smith, man. It's almost like a storybook type of chapter for Preston Smith, where he gets traded from the Packers to the Steelers, and he'll be the primary rotational piece behind Watt and Highsmith in the same place against the same team that drafted him.
Yeah.
So good for Preston Smith, and he's definitely going to play with a chip on his shoulder. And like you mentioned, he's in a proper scheme where that's going to suit him best. So I'm hoping Preston Smith can come in and make an immediate impact as a rotational guy.
Indeed.
That's going to be great. But all those guys are healthy. All our linebackers are healthy, knock on wood. All of our secondary is healthy, and that's with Cam Sutton being active for the first time this season in this game.
Yep, so he'll be back off suspension.
That's with Beanie Bishop coming off of 2 games with interceptions. Corey Trice should be coming back from IR shortly. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
This team, or the defense specifically, is the healthiest I've seen it in a long time. Probably since, I don't know, 2020 before Bud Dupree went down. This is the healthiest Steelers defense I've seen in a long time.
That or maybe the before Shazier's injury.
Probably.
Maybe.
Probably.
If we have to go way back there, maybe. But it just goes to show, again, a big benefit of that is because the offense is able to sustain a drive for more than 3 minutes.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, it's the God's honest truth. They couldn't. I swear to God.
3 minutes.
Yeah. Jesus.
Wow.
Seriously, props to the offense. And they just got to keep that going.
Yes.
Keep that going. Keep the defensive guys healthy because we are going to need those guys big time.
The start of the Mortal Kombat Gauntlet is this Sunday, 1 o'clock in Washington versus the Commanders. This is the start of who the Steelers are. Let me say that. This is the start of who the Steelers really are, of who they want to be,
exactly,
of who we think they're going to be. This is really going to be, I suppose, part 1 or the first chapter of the reality of the Pittsburgh Steelers for the 2024 season. What team is this? Are they legit? Are the Steelers legit enough? Can they be a playoff team? Can they be a playoff contending team? This is where it starts, guys. This second half of the season is obviously so important, but this is where we're going to see just how legitimate the Steelers are.
Yep.
It starts this Sunday versus the Commanders. You don't underestimate them. They are young. They have had a favorable schedule, but so have the Steelers. So don't underestimate them. So we'll see what the Steelers do. We'll see how they prepare and how they come into Washington on the road to start off this gauntlet of a schedule. So I'm very excited to see where they've improved and what they have harbored on throughout the bye week. And maybe we can finally get some legitimate confidence that we can be something excited and proud about this team.
Indeed.
It starts this Sunday, guys. I'm very excited. I'm very happy for it. A little nervous, not going to lie to you. Because, Steelers games are always nervous. You always still have that thought in the back of your head. It's like, wait a minute. What kind of Steelers game are we going to get?
That's why the bye week was so stress-free, man.
Yes.
It's good to have the bye week.
It is very good to have the bye week.
Yeah.
But, there's no bye week now.
No, it's over. Now it's reality, man. Now it's reality. Just go out there and show how much you want it. Go out there and showcase, what type of team you really are. Are you legit? Are you the real deal?
Let me get a new poll in the chat. Let me see. What's the new poll? Let me think here. How many?
Yeah, Digital Dust says Mike Tomlin is 25-6 against rookie quarterbacks.
That's incredible.
That is. That's a great record. He's got to make it 26-6.
26-6. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me put how many receiving yards for George Pickens, because Pickens has been on a streak lately. 70 plus, 80 plus, 90 plus.
There you go.
Before you get you guys' polls in the chat, how many receiving yards do you think George Pickens gets? Now, let's look at George Pickens the last 2 weeks because, again, he has been on a hot streak. He had over
and that chemistry with Russ, man, that's brewing.
He had over 100 yards in his first and only touchdown versus the Jets and had another 74 versus the Giants. I mean,
Yeah, well, and what an absolute dot to the left sideline too.
God, and the thing, man, he should have had another touchdown. He should have had 2.
Yeah,
He should have had 2.
yeah. Planting the same foot down, people have said that should count as 2 feet in bounds because when
it's,
people have a knee or a calf down, that indicates 2 feet down.
But
So why can't the same foot hitting twice in the end zone count as 2 feet?
it's as simple as this. It's 2 body parts,
Basically,
not the same body part.
I mean, sure.
That's the rule. I mean, I don't make the rules. I don't have to agree with
Well,
it.
it's the NFL, they're gonna make their rules the way that they are.
Well, that's but that's just the reasoning, That's why what's his face? Garrett Wilson got that incredible touchdown because
What was it that? Was it the knee or the calf? Whatever it was, or was it the heel?
it was the shin,
The shin. That's what it was.
was
Yeah,
the
the
shin.
shin. Yeah, it touched down.
2 different body parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the touchdown called back from Broderick. Yes, should have had 2. Should have had 2 touchdowns. At least one. At least one.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
There's one man that really needs to step it up, but that is indeed Broderick Jones.
Yeah, actually, chat. That's a good way to transition right here. Out of everybody this second half of the season, who do you think needs to step up the most? Now, Broderick seems like a very easy answer, but I'm trying to think who else could really step up. Who should really step up?
I'll tell you right now, the other name that pops off in my head is Patrick Queen.
Agreed.
I'm not saying he's terrible or he's like a bust of a signing. I'm not saying that. Like, we've seen much worse inside linebackers. But as far as, like a playmaking aspect or like a big impact guy, like he hasn't indicated that yet. I'm not saying that he won't. It's just he hasn't shown it yet. Maybe with the second half, because that's what we're really going to need the Patrick Queen for Baltimore to really show up and highlight his ability.
Yeah, Miles and the Milkman in the chat agree with you guys.
Yeah.
Say Queen. Rolando says Highsmith.
Highsmith's always been underrated.
Highsmith is coming off an incredible game.
I never considered him, yes, of course, you want him to play better and step up, but Highsmith, even when the stats aren't popping, he doesn't get a lot of sacks per se, but he's still a game wrecker.
No, he gets so much pressure. The sacks may not always equate, but the hits and the pressures he causes are such a silent killer. They're such a
it's a pivotal part of his game and of helping out the defense and just stopping an offense.
It's such a suppressor. It's underrated, man. It really is. Now he's going up against 3rd-round rookie out of TCU, Brandon Coleman, who I think he started 4 games for the Commanders so far.
Yeah. And
let me tell you, just because Highsmith is going up against a rookie doesn't mean, Highsmith's going to have 3 sacks. That'd be great. And maybe Coleman's going to have his biggest test to date. But last week, he went up against Brian Burns and very much held his own.
Yeah.
For a 3rd-round rookie. That's impressive. So, shout out to Brandon Coleman. He's definitely going to have to hold his own again, but he's been doing it the past couple weeks. So, Highsmith, man, is going to have to welcome the rookie to the NFL, man. But one thing's for sure, Highsmith and Watt are the best pass rush duo in the league.
Yeah, nobody touches them.
It's hard to slow them down, especially now you got a vet in Smith to keep him fresh.
And Herbig comes back, man.
Oh, my God.
Good luck slowing that down. Seriously.
Even their right tackle, Andrew Weil, is questionable. I would still anticipate him to play, but, he's a vet. I think he was with the Chiefs for a couple years, but he's going up against TJ.
Yeah.
And,
it doesn't matter what TJ's going up against. TJ's going to do TJ things.
Yes.
He's going to do what he needs to do.
That's just who he is. TJ, man, if there's any player that's going to have the most determination for this stretch, it's going to be TJ. 100%. He wants a playoff spot just as badly as anyone else. He wants a playoff win as badly as anyone else because he has yet to get one.
Already a Hall of Fame career, and he doesn't even have a playoff win to hang his cap on.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
So, Watt, man.
He's got to get it.
Out of everyone in this stretch, he's going to be the one with the most determination. I would say the other will probably be Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I would think Russell Wilson because he still has a chip on his shoulder. He's kind of silencing some doubters so far. So.
He still got to keep it doing. Like his job ain't done yet.
No, it's not. Job's not finished at all.
No.
TD says Muth for sure. The Steelers need to get Muth involved more. They're feeding Washington, which is great, but they really need to start getting the ball to Muth more. I don't know what's with him being limited or with him only getting 3 catches a game. You need to start feeding Pat Frymuth. Like, I don't know what's with him not getting the ball as much, but you paid the man. He's going to be here in the next, 3 years or so. He needs more than just 2 catches a game.
I think 4 years, actually. Whatever the case may be. I mean, it's just the fact that you extended him. You have him in your future plans, hence why you extended him. It's like, utilize the guy. Like, we know that he's very capable. And the thing about Muth, actually, with the multiple tight end usage is his availability is actually, stood out.
Yes.
It's been one of the more worrisome things heading into the regular season was, his concussions, his injury concerns, his lack of availability over the course of his Steelers career so far. So far, he's been perfectly healthy. Like, knock on wood.
Yeah, he missed He missed a lot of time last year, but he has been healthy. Knock on wood, correct. But yeah, let's get him the ball more. I don't know why the Steelers don't feed Muth as much. He's a reliable target. He's a yak guy when he wants to be, when he can be. Give him the ball more.
And a red zone target. All his touchdowns in the red zone. So every single one.
Yeah. So absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that. Benton on the run D. Yeah, I agree. Benton, I mean, I don't want to say he's been quiet, but you don't see him out there as much. I figured he would have had a sack or 2 by now.
Now, does he? I don't think he has one yet.
No. He doesn't. In fact, let me look at his stats in general. I mean, stats don't always tell the story. I still feel like Benton is having a solid second year.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him do some bull rushes, like his pass rush. I feel like it's gotten better.
Oh, his pressures are always there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's not going to get to the quarterback all the time, but his pressures are so important. That's what allows the defense to force the turnovers, especially earlier in the season.
If he keeps that level of impact going, I mean, it's like perfect. Yeah. Like, it's fine. Like, he's still making a play. It may not pop up on us as a stat, but I mean, as long as you see it and as long as he's making the plays and at a consistent rate, great, perfect.
Right. I just figured he would have a bit of a faster start. It's not a negative on Benton because I still think Benton is a future piece of this defense, but maybe Benton is a guy that steps up for this second half of the season. Maybe he's a guy that gets more reps for sure. I'd hope so.
Yeah,
I really hope so. Watt needs a ring, nothing less. 100%. If Watt doesn't get a ring, then that is one of the biggest crimes in Steelers history.
Yeah.
That's like saying Troy never got a ring. And you can't even say that.
You can't even envision it. No.
It's just crazy. No, because you look at the history of the Steelers, man. Some of the best defensive players of all time, especially for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have rings.
They have a ring.
Harrison has a ring. Polamalu has a ring. Ham, Lambert, Green obviously have 4 rings.
Yeah.
I mean, Joey Porter has a ring. Watt doesn't even have a fucking playoff win.
No, that's unfortunate.
Hayward doesn't even have a ring.
No.
And Hayward is second in team sacks.
He is. Those two will probably never be touched again, by the way. As long as they continue to play at their level, like that stat will, especially Watt, will never get touched. But like they need something to represent that.
Right.
They really do. Especially TJ Watt. Especially for his family name and whatnot. Just the legacy of the Watt brothers, the 3. Like he needs to have something to represent that.
Right.
Some golds, a championship.
J-Man in the chat says, here's a question. Who they shut out and when was the last time the Steelers had a shutout? That's a great question. Last shutout? Hold on.
It had to have been Prime Ben days, right? It had to have been.
Hold on.
I don't remember.
If StatMuse is correct, the last time they had a shutout was in 2011 versus the St. Louis Rams on Christmas Eve.
2011 Christmas Eve. It's been a long time. If that is correct, it's been a long time.
In fact, the Steelers had 2 shutouts that year.
Yeah. I mean, number 1 defense that year, yeah. It's a testament of those guys, man.
Wow, that's incredible. Wow, that's a long time ago. That's a long time ago.
Elijah, Panthers, Steelers. I mean, are you talking about the one where Cam Newton just got obliterated by TJ Watt?
I mean, that was the last legitimate.
That was a blowout. That wasn't a shutout. But it was just a massacre at Heinz Field.
What was that? 2017.
That was 2018. It was 2018.
Was it 2018?
It was 2018. It was when the Steelers started
You're right.
5-2-1.
God, that was the last time they scored 50 points.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah, that was
52 points.
That was their last legitimate, like, full blown out win. Yeah.
Mitch Williams had a pick six. I remember that.
That was great.
That was
a
great
phenomenal game. That was that was the year Bell sat out.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh,
That's
man.
right.
Dude,
Wow.
we put up 52 points without Bell that year.
Mhm.
That's unbelievable.
Wow.
Wow.
Didn't what's his name? Didn't Jayden Daniels score in that game too? I think he did, right? He had to.
Only you would know that. What
I don't know. It's one of those things that like I shouldn't remember, but I do. I think it was like garbage time. The Steelers won to rack up points. I think Samuels got a touchdown. It was like his first career rushing touchdown too. So it was like a cool moment.
Well, I know Juju had that big touchdown. What was it? The first play, I think. Ben hit him down the left sideline and went. That was a
Yeah, AB had a touchdown that one too. Like I mean, who didn't have a touchdown in that one?
yeah.
Let's be real.
But that was our last like legitimate blowout, like full blowout,
like stress free,
stress free blowout.
Like kick your feet up, lay back, and just
Enjoy
it. Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get back to that. I don't know. Maybe we'll get back to that again. Let me see. Is Mike Williams better than what he showed in New York, or is his success from his time on the Chargers over? This is going to be a major storyline in the second half, in my opinion. Hidden Shadow 76. You're not wrong. Mike Williams is still a big mystery. You know, I'm still not moved by the addition, but was it a move they had to make? Did they have to bolster the room in some way? Did they have to get another receiver? Yeah,
100%.
So I can't hate it. I don't hate it at all, as a matter of fact. It's not mind-blowing. I don't envision him being here after this year, but it's not really the point of the trade. It's just to bolster the room for this year only.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what Mike Williams is going to bring to the table, but just
Maybe,
because of what he showcased with A-Rod and the Jets and their offense doesn't mean that we're going to get that Mike Williams. At least I hope not.
But what I do feel confident in saying is he is inconsistent. He
always has been. Even in his prime years with the Chargers, like 1,000 yards, he always was.
And he does have drop issues, but is he capable of making those big plays? Absolutely. So hopefully he can make those plays at times. If he does that, then the fifth was worth it.
Yeah.
And we still got another fifth next year. So
we'll see what Mike Williams can bring to the table.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Everything we're throwing to Muth has been crossing routes. We need to hit him quick up the seam. They did that versus the Bengals last year. Why don't they do that more often? Get him down the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm. Like, utilize middle of the field. Like.
I mean, I know Russ and Field specifically don't target that area, but don't be shy about it. Doesn't mean you gotta ignore it.
It's one of the things that, it's what impacts Muth's ability as a vertical threat, as a dynamic tight end.
Well, it stretches the field overall. I mean, you can't just avoid that. You know what I mean?
But get him involved middle of the field. I mean, that's just where he sticks out. That's just where he performs the best.
Yeah.
So just do a little bit more in that. Just find a way to utilize Muth and get him involved.
Agreed. Beanie Bishop deserves a ring. At this point, man, if he keeps getting interceptions, I agree.
He's tied with Dante Jackson for most interceptions on the team.
Yeah, we're 3.
That's very impressive.
Cordell Patterson is a sleeper player this game, potentially. Remember him in Indy Week 4. Yeah, he was the only guy doing anything at that game or in that game up until Fields started trying to make a comeback.
Yeah.
Then he got hurt. That was the last time. I think that was the last time we saw Patterson.
Yeah. He's been out since, so.
The guy can still go, man. He's shifty. He's got some burst to him. He's a dual threat.
And honestly, the way that special teams has been playing, and considering he was one of the most better special teams players of all time. So,
yeah.
Hey, I mean, I could be indicating to something. I don't know.
Speak it into existence.
That'd be nice. That'd be great. See Patterson, just add more to his resume.
Can't wait to see how hype y'all are when we clutch a win on Sunday. I'll be very hyped if we win on Sunday.
I'll be ecstatic, man.
I'll be because then the Steelers would have won 4 straight. We would have beaten a legit, and I do say legit, 7-2 team. And we got a lot of momentum heading into, after this, 4 straight AFC North battles. Like, the Steelers need as much momentum and as many wins as they can get, because once we hit the AFC North games, those games get a little more crunched up and they get a lot more important. So any losses that they start to suffer is going to hurt even more. So you got to keep winning. Got to keep stacking wins. Seriously. Especially if they're able to beat the Commanders because they would have the Raiders and the Commanders over the Ravens. That's huge. And then if they beat the Ravens, they have a very comfortable lead. And then, yes, AFC North football, it can go either way any Sunday, anytime they face, but the Bengals aren't good. The Browns aren't good. I don't want to sleep on them because I anticipate them to bring the action, but they're not good.
That's the thing.
They suck.
That's the thing. Oh, no doubt about it. But I'll say this about the AFC North when it comes to the matchups. It could be Browns and Ravens. It could be Ravens and Bengals. It could be Steelers and Ravens. It could be Steelers, Bengals, whatever, right? Whatever variation you want to go. When it comes to AFC North football, there's no other matchup other than that. No other divisional matchup tops AFC North football.
No,
let me just state that right now.
Yeah, AFC North football is the best divisional football in all of the NFL.
It is always must see. Like even when Jameis Winston stepped in his first start this season against that game was just ridiculous. It was incredible.
Yeah, and then obviously the past two Bengals and Ravens games have been electric. Last night was crazy. Unbelievable fourth quarter. I mean,
Absolutely. And
wow.
we all know how Steelers Ravens are. I mean, it's always, just very competitive and dynamic and just, brutal.
It's weird because
And Steelers Bengals, I mean, of course.
it's like what we see from the Bengals and Ravens is something that you would kind of expect from Steelers and Ravens nowadays with how their offenses are.
Yeah.
But it's the complete opposite because they're always so defensive and they're always within 3 or 4 points.
Yeah.
With one score. So it's like Bengals and Ravens give you all the offensive excitement you want, and the Steelers and Ravens are the exact opposite while still keeping it close and intense every single time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for next week's game, but I more so can't wait for Sunday's game because I'll tell you what. Listen, we needed the bye week. Lord knows we needed it. I enjoyed last Sunday, bro. I was stress-free outside the parlays.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that.
I was stress-free, but let me tell you, man, I do kind of miss Steelers football every now and then. I'm not going to lie to you. So I'm excited for Sunday's game, man. This is going to be it's just one of those games where, like, you look at those two teams and when you see what they've done throughout the season, that's just such a good game to watch. Like, if your team's on the bye or your team doesn't play till later in the Sunday or later in the week, that's the game you're going to pick.
Of course.
That's the game you're going to choose, not the Vikings and Colts or not the whoever else played, the Browns or whoever else they play, right? That game. That's the game you're going to pick. That's the game you're going to watch. If it's in your area, that's the game you're going to watch. If you have Sunday ticket, that's the game you're going to watch. I think that's awesome, man. I think that's very cool, and that just makes me a lot more excited for this game, man. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this game, and I'm very excited and very interested to see how the Steelers come out, man. It's going to be a very good one. Daniels' deep ball is the real deal. They got to be careful in the secondary of this game. 100%. They got to keep Minka down there, and they got to limit that. Because Daniels, man, that's one of his most threatening capabilities. His accuracy and his precision is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
For a rookie quarterback, like, it's not often you see rookie quarterbacks have that much fluidity in their game already, where they are just so up to speed. Stroud had an incredible year last year. And Daniels isn't exactly replicating that statistically, but in terms of just how successful their offense is or how the team is measuring, like, you don't get rookie quarterbacks like that often. So.
No, and Dan Quinn and the Commanders, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew that Daniels was the guy that they were going to go with because, I mean, everyone and their grandmama knew that Caleb Williams was a bear. But, you're bringing in Cliff Kingsbury, who, knows how to develop and work with quarterbacks at the college level or even the NFL level to a degree. It's just they knew what they were doing. Like they had a vision, they had a plan for the future, and they wanted it. And it's already indicating and showcasing, like, hey, this is a start, and it's off to a great start. It's a great first impression.
I forget, did the Steelers bring in Kingsbury for a visit during the OC search?
I do remember that. I think there was a report on that. I'm not sure if they actually did. I can't remember if they did or not.
I don't think they, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they did, but I know there was interest. Ultimately, obviously, they settled Arthur Smith,
Yeah,
and
of
I don't
course.
think any of us are really complaining at the moment. But
No, because they only interviewed 3 people. It was Thomas Brown, it was Arthur Smith, and there was another guy. I can't remember his name. I can't remember who.
it was.
Do you remember who it was?
Yeah, I will tell you in a minute. It was Gerard
Johnson.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, they only interviewed 3 people for the OC, and they settled with Arthur Smith. So maybe the interest was there for Kingsbury. I think that's the report I remember, but ultimately, again, the Commanders knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Let's see where we at. Bengals miss Mixon a lot. I mean, maybe. Chase Brown's looking good. I mean, Chase Brown isn't Mixon. Mixon's killing it right now when he's healthy. But
Yeah, I mean, Chase Brown, as far as a running back goes, like running the football, he's not really living up to what Mixon left out there. But, I mean, Brown's still, just a versatile piece. I mean, like, Brown's still being an asset for that Bengals team.
it's one of my best fantasy pickups.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he got
you.
you how many? 22.5 points?
Yeah, I got 50-something points. Bro, this motherfucker.
Him.
This sumbitch.
Jamar Chase, buddy, that's my guy every year for fantasy.
Bro, this guy.
I hate that he's a Bengal, but I mean, I cannot deny what he brings to the table
Bro.
for fantasy purposes.
Not
Man,
Not just Chase.
Lamar Jackson.
Bro, this dude.
I am sitting at 95. I was letting Mike Gesicki. I decided to pick up Mike Gesicki, put him on my flex. I got 95 fucking fantasy points right now, just sitting based off the Thursday night football game, based off Lamar Jackson, Jamar Chase, and Mike Gesicki.
I got 50, so because I started Burrow and I started Chase, so I ain't hating either. But
Man, Jamar Chase.
bro, you got 95 in one game.
Yep.
It's gotta be a record.
Yep.
It's gotta be a record.
Listen, if I blow that lead, if I pull an Atlanta Falcon, I will leave the fantasy league. I will retire.
Wow.
There's no way I blow that lead.
That'd be
I hope to God I
unbelievable.
don't, but man, what a start.
Jamie Carlo's in the chat. So yo. What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Hey, Jamie, what's up?
Never got to experience Three Rivers. Always wish I would have. Me neither.
As a matter of fact, I'm not sure if you guys see it up top right here.
Yeah, up top, like right above the SteelTwins license plate, that
is a padded seat from the final season at Three Rivers
not
Stadium.
just a padded seat, but you see the red seat itself. That is from Three Rivers.
Yeah. Just right up there. We had to get up there for the background.
Yeah, Hugh shout to Cold Steel. You guys might remember him. You guys should remember him. He kindly gave that to us.
Yeah. I still don't know why. I felt like, like that was
that. I mean,
that's something he invested in, but
well, not just that. Like he lived through Free Rivers.
Yeah.
We were too young. Okay, we were still shitting our pants in diapers when
exactly.
it got demolished. Not
Yeah.
to show our age, but like he was able to watch Three Rivers on television.
Exactly.
I wasn't. I'm jealous.
Nope.
I'm jealous.
That's kind of wild, but we do appreciate
Always,
him,
man.
him giving it to us.
Shout out to Cold, man.
Big
Seriously.
time. Hope you're doing well, brother.
I mean, I don't know. I might want to put that in the case somehow.
I think it should be. I mean, that's history. How many asses sat on that seat?
Is there potential? Hold on. eBay's got something. You guys know what I'm going to search for.
What doesn't eBay have?
Three Rivers Stadium turf.
Sorry for not paying attention, but is Stephon Gilmore not playing Sunday? For the Vikings, I'm not sure.
I forgot.
Is he hurt? I don't know if he got hurt or not. Who do the Vikings play,
eBay,
right?
you don't disappoint me. Let's go.
Did the Vikings play? Yeah, they play. They play Jacksonville. I mean, come on. Like, Stephon Gilmore just could have a coffee break. I mean, come on. It's Jacksonville.
They got turf from Three Rivers in their
Turf.
certificate
You
of
look for
authenticity.
turf?
Yeah, of course.
You look for turf. How much?
$23.
That's it?
Well, it's just a tiny square.
Bro, I don't care if it's just a grain. It's turf from Three Rivers.
I might be doing some shopping.
Why not, right?
More than 10 available. 26 sold already.
Oh, wow.
I'm buying that bitch. Swear jar.
There you go.
I'm buying that.
Early Christmas gift for yourself. Boom.
This game is essentially when you think about it. Our divisional rivals look tough other than Browns, LOL. And our other two games are Philly and KC. Yeah. Caston, I 100% agree. This game is essential because you need to win. I think that's going to come into massive effect, especially against the Ravens, because the Ravens beat the Commanders.
Yeah.
But the Steelers, man, they were 5-1 against the division last year. So I feel very confident they're going to remain competitive and win a majority of those games.
The Steelers is Lamar's kryptonite. Lamar just can't play good against the Steelers in general. Just look at the history. I mean, the Bengals will have us every now and then. You know what I'm
we
saying?
swept them last year. I mean,
But we did sweep them. And the Browns, I mean, they're the fucking Browns, okay? Let's be real.
Jameis Winston, who throws interceptions a lot, against a team that already has 10 interceptions, and that's 2 weeks before their game.
Yeah, Winston. Yeah. That's a W. Thanks for the W against the Ravens. You really helped out with that one, sure. Too bad Cincinnati couldn't. Though they kind of were screwed at the end of that game with the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, Lattimore's not playing. Lattimore has been ruled out with a hamstring. So, Hakuna Matata. We ain't got to worry about it.
Yeah, Lattimore. I got you now. Gotcha.
Yeah, Lattimore isn't playing. He's not playing. We ain't got to worry about Marshawn. He can rest up that hamstring, and he might play next week versus the who the Commanders face? The Eagles Thursday night?
Thursday night. So it might be a short week. I mean, it's still investment for not just this year, but for years down the road. Mm-hmm. That's just a hell of a future investment for the Commanders.
Tell me about the Funko Pops in the background. This is Jerome Bettis, and that's Terry Bradshaw. In fact, I'll get closer.
Don't knock down the cereal. You knocked one down. Come on, man. You knocked down the cereal, too?
That's Jerome.
There you go.
It's not the best focus.
That's the bus.
And that's Bradshaw. It's not the best focus. Can you get that in focus?
You want me to get up there and try to get in focus?
You guys see it.
You can see it.
Okay, so the story behind these is it's I'm glad you asked that because tis the season. Shout out to Loose Cannon, bro. You guys might recognize that name. We've mentioned him every now and then. We talk to him on Instagram pretty often. Every single year we do a gift exchange with him where we'll do a Christmas gift exchange. He's a Browns fan from Ohio. Yeah. But he's chill as fuck. He's really cool. He's very humble, he's very honest and very respectable. He's not like Nick Carnes on social media. Nowhere near. He's a great family man. He's an awesome Browns fan and very loyal. He's been through a lot. Dude, I'm not to get into much detail, but he messaged us after Deshaun Watson went down. He said, I might have to double think my fandom here because, wow. Yeah. The Browns are just so bad, and what they've done and what they've sold for Watson and everything is just so bad. Yeah. So, every now and then he'll get his fun little spark with the Browns, like with Winston and everything. But, no, we got that from him. So every Christmas we do a gift exchange, and, it seems like we got to do some shopping because that time of the year is coming around. So,
of course, big time.
So, yeah, huge shout out to him, man. He's the one that gave it to us. So, in fact, not just that. If you see
are you trying to find where it is?
There. This right here, this is a old Iron City.
Yeah, and right there. That one there, too. You see that? Right above the Steelers sign.
So, this Iron City, what's this called? Beer can, has the Browns and the Steelers helmet, one of the old school beer cans, which I wish they would do nowadays because I think those are great collector's items. This above here, the Steelers versus Browns, that's a magazine from the 50s. And the one over there, like Rob pointed to, that's from the 50s as well. Yeah. And that's what he sends us every year. It's just cool Steelers versus Browns memorabilia.
Yeah, what's weird about that, too, is not even weird. It's actually pretty crazy is, it actually has, like, the roster members for both teams.
Dude, there is...
And Chuck Noll was a Browns linebacker.
Yeah, I forget which one it's in, but Chuck Noll was... Shout out to Chuck Noll, by the way.
Of course.
He's over here. He was a Browns lineman before he was obviously, a 4-time Super Bowl champion. So that's some interesting.
So the tie-in's just right there, So it's perfect.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's really awesome.
But yeah, shout out to Loose Cannon, man. I as a friend, I do feel for you, with what you're going with the Browns. But as a Steelers fan, just seeing the Browns, just do their usual. It does bring a smile to my face. But I do feel for you.
I do. I feel for, the really cool ones, Loose Cannon, shout Unger to the max.
Indeed.
I feel for y'all. Any Browns fans that are cool in the chat, I feel for you guys. I do. But, at the same time, it's what you get for thinking that one playoff win was your Super Bowl, so I'll be respectable. I'll be respectful.
For now. He said
for
it,
now.
not me. All right.
Wait, hold on. Wait until whatever week that we play them. Just wait.
Which is after the Ravens game.
Yeah, so week 12.
Which would be, is that Thursday night?
That is indeed.
That would be in Cleveland, too. So that's 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks.
Fucking bet. If Steelers are Lamar's kryptonite, shouldn't we do the same to Daniels? I think Daniels is a little bit more of a threatening passer. He's a little more accurate. But I do think we have a way to model Daniels and his rushing ability. Like, the Steelers did it all the time. They do it every time they go up against Lamar. They bring in a practice squad guy or someone off the street to model Lamar in practice. Now they have that in Fields. I wouldn't be surprised if Fields was doing that, to model Daniels. He'll probably do it next week to model Lamar. I mean, it's just what the Steelers do. So in that regard, yeah, I think they have an advantage against quarterbacks like that because they know exactly how to game plan against dual threat quarterbacks.
Yeah, again, they're no stranger to game plan against quarterbacks like that. Jamie, I see why you were to say that. I don't know if we really do limit Daniels because the guy is a stud, but the defense is still going to have to be on their A game. They have to be ready for anything and everything that Daniels is going to bring.
Right. Let me see. Their DBs are 5'11", our receivers are 6'4". Our red zone offense should feast on the secondary. If there aren't a few lobs or toss-ups in the red zone, I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, the mismatch, right there and then is just that's another thing that they're going to have to look at and take advantage of.
Wasn't their tallest corner St. Juice?
St. Juice is 6'3", so like him going up against Pickens right there, that's the matchup there.
Is he going up against Pickens, or is it going to be
Well, he's the left cornerback, so I imagine that.
About Forbes?
Forbes is not a starter. No.
When did that happen?
As a matter of fact, Sammer still was the right cornerback, so he's playing outside while their nickel cornerback was Noah. I'm not going to even try to pronounce this guy's last name. He was a former Dolphins first-round pick.
Oh.
He was the nickel cornerback. So Forbes, yeah, he's you call him the cinnamon stick from Apple Jacks? Yeah, he's that, but he's right.
I just looked at his PFF grade. Oh my God, I wish I didn't see that.
Yeah, he's not a starter. He's not.
Wow. You took him in the first round a couple years ago?
Yeah. It's crazy because that was
the previous administration, by the way.
I actually expected more from Forbes.
I thought he was a good cover guy coming out of college.
I don't know what happened, dude.
His size, man.
If he's not working for Dan Quinn's system in his first year, then maybe it's never going to work out.
Yeah, really.
They traded for Lattimore, for God's sake.
Mark asks, how's your night going, SteelTwins? It's going great.
Great.
Hope you guys had a great week. Us personally, we had a very good week. No complaints here. None at all, man. Had a very good week. Before we get into the poll here and more into the chat, I want to thank BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us this NFL season as we look at the betting lines for the Steelers versus Commanders. As you see, the Commanders are indeed the favorites. You can kind of see why they are the favorites, but they are indeed the favorites. They are 3-point favorites, as a matter of fact. The Steelers are the underdog. If you like that money line and you feel very confident the Steelers can pull off the upset, quote unquote, I would take it. If you feel confident that this is good, that the total is going to be under or over 45, feel free to take it. I honestly, man, me personally, as a betting man, I don't know which way it's going to go, but as a biased Steelers fan, I do like that money line. I don't hate that. I actually like a couple of the upsets this week because when we look at some of the upsets this week, there are a few that kind of pop off to the screen to me, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should cash on some of these. So let's take a look at the betting lines here, man. Do you think the Panthers could pull off the upset versus the Giants? Yes or no?
See, I don't know. Well,
Chuba Hubbard could cook.
Chuba Hubbard, and he just got extended too, so props to him. But no, I think I picked the Giants in the weekly predictions.
Okay.
I did. I just think the Giants just have a better overall. It's not saying much, but I feel like they have a better team overall than the Panthers do. I think they're more competitive, and they can just do a better job at executing plays than the Panthers can.
In the general, this game.
And plus, I just don't trust Bryce Young. I don't.
Well, this game just doesn't sound amusing. But
again, what did Germany do to deserve this?
I don't know. So we're gonna take the Steelers money line because I do like them as the upset. Let's see where the other upsets are there this week. Let's see, the Bucks maybe. I don't know. They're gonna have a tough task. Plus McCaffrey's coming back. Let's see.
Yeah, not the best week.
Ooh,
the best
Cardinals.
time to be a Buccaneers fan.
The Cardinals versus the Jets. I kind of favor that. You know what?
Yeah, because the Jets are the favorite. Yeah. Arizona's on a 3-game win streak, I think.
There's actually not many upsets that are intriguing to me. So honestly, I would say the Steelers and the Cardinals are actually pretty solid here. So we're gonna turn that into a parlay. Now the odds are 125 to 1. So I mean, nothing too crazy, but I mean, let's put 20 on that. 20 to win 74.5. I feel like those odds are pretty cool, man. To rely on some of the upsets, let's confirm that. If you guys want to tail that, free to do so at betus.com. Take advantage of a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at betus.com today. Take advantage of the live wagering on all major sports, plus fast and easy deposit withdrawal process, plus 24/7 personalized service every day. So thanks to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us this NFL season. Just please gamble responsibly. So for George Pickens, 34% of you guys think that Pickens will get over 90 receiving yards. Kind of bold.
But hey, Pickens is more than capable of doing that.
Yeah.
And again, that chemistry of Russ, week by week, it's brewing with the deep ball and, just growing that chemistry and just having to attack through the air. And again, Russ has been a big asset, helping the passing attack.
Right. Playing in Washington after the election is a foreshadowing, hopefully. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe we see a Washington touchdown against Washington.
Why would you say that? Now I have to place it. Why would you say that?
Because you were going to regardless.
Can you say he's going to get the first touchdown? Because those odds are higher.
He did against the Broncos. It's not his first time.
Dude, you need to shut up because you're not helping me right now.
Listen, man. Ultimately, it's down to you. It's down to you if you want to make that decision.
I'm going to put 5 on it.
What about Mike Williams? Now, you don't think he gets a touchdown?
No, watch us age poorly, and then he does score the first touchdown. How much you want to bet? Bet Steelers O-line in the first round. I think you can do that. I mean, maybe not now, but I think in the future, yeah, you can bet certain positions for certain teams, which I think is cool. I think it's kind of cool. Takes sports betting to a different level in the offseason. Mm-hmm. Their DBs are small. It's time to throw the ball up often. I agree. I think we can definitely mismatch them in size. I mean, we already have, dude. The size we have at receiver is incredible.
Yep.
And I'm including tight ends. I mean, holy smokes. Oh, so Jamie does think Williams scores. Okay. I wish Roman Wilson wouldn't have gotten injured. I was really looking forward to seeing him ball. I don't know when he's gonna be back, Ashton. I don't.
He was put on IR, before the Giants game, so it's been a week. This will be 2. He may be back for
The Browns.
Maybe. And that's stretching it because that would technically be on a short week. So maybe the Bengals game around December 1st.
Honestly,
But at that point, it would be so late into the season. That'd be week 13. And he's been so out, of playing on the field and still working in practice and just working on the playbook and whatnot.
Well, now that we added Mike Williams, I don't see him being active at all this season when he gets elevated.
So he just might be a healthy scratch, is what you're saying.
Or they might just keep him on IR for the remainder of the season because they might just keep him in a healthy scratch. Or if he is healthy. So
that's a big if.
I would hope that if he does come back from IR, they play him as much as they can because he needs as many rookie snaps as he can get, even if he doesn't get receptions or targets.
And that's if around that time, if Mike Williams is not being an asset.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I don't think that's going to happen with the fact we just added Mike Williams.
Yeah.
And Austin and Van Jefferson making plays. And you still got Scotty Miller as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Roman Wilson seeing any playing time this year. None. So either they activate him from IR and he's a healthy scratch, or he's on IR for the rest of the season and doesn't play. Either way, he's not playing.
Depending on, how everything plays out, knock on wood, if you know what I mean. But from the sounds of it, if that's the case, Dan, then we may not see Roman Wilson in action until next year, which is unfortunate. Because he's one of those rookies I was really looking forward to seeing get the opportunity in playing. It's just a fucking jet sweep.
Yeah, a jet sweep has caused all this. A jet sweep.
The Matt Canada aura just had to linger one more time, huh?
Yes, it did. Yeah, Roman's going to redshirt.
Notice how we haven't done that, by the way? We haven't really incorporated that with Arthur Smith lately.
Well, we did it one time in week 1 to Pickens.
And we haven't.
And he lost 10 yards.
What I'm saying is, how often have we seen it lately?
Not very often.
Okay, then. All right. See?
They got scared.
Well, then
let's not do that again.
Listen, Tomlin doesn't live in his fears. Just don't ever incorporate a jet sweep into the offense again. Okay?
Watch, we get a jet sweep.
How about no?
We're manifesting this, bro. We're jinxing them.
No.
I noticed that. We jinx them sometimes. Whether it's saying something during or before the game or a poll we put in the chat. We always jinx the team in some fashion.
You're the one that puts it.
Sorry. Roman will not score a touchdown this year, period. That's a lock.
There will be no Wilson to Wilson connection.
Does he get a catch?
No.
Does he play?
No.
I don't think so either.
Honestly, at this point, I don't think so.
I agree with Tom. He's going to redshirt. He already is redshirting.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, so be it. It's just how Roman's really going to have to handle the situation where he's going to go from there.
No, it's just like, it's almost like a Calvin Austin situation again. And Calvin Austin has been, I'd say, reliable. I'd say he's been reliable, man.
No, week by week, he's making a play.
I'm loving Calvin Austin. He's actually quickly becoming one of my more favorite receivers on the team. Just keep giving him targets, especially with his speed down the field.
He's just growing as that really capable guy, which is a great thing to see.
Well, I see his progression. I see the route running. I see him getting open. I see him making plays in every way possible. I mean, you love that. You love that from a what, former fourth rounder. Minkah gets his first pick, says Jamie, and Matt agrees. He hopes that Minkah gets a pick because it's been too long. He hasn't had a pick since 2022.
It's been a year and a half actually, or 2 years technically.
He's so due. He is so due.
Mm-hmm. It's been a while.
He's so due. Like, he needs a pick, man.
Yeah. But you notice that he's playing more deep safety compared to last year. He's already, out snapped, as many times as he played deep safety than he did last year. That's a testament of Deshaun Elliott coming in and doing what he needs to do and just how healthy the cornerback room is and how reliable the play has been as well.
It makes the defense go around.
And the inside linebacker, considering that we don't need Minkah to be the 5th inside linebacker.
Yeah,
we always had Minkah to be.
It makes the defense go around. It's good. They just got to stop giving up so many yardage, so many big plays.
So even though Minkah's not, making the splash interceptions or the crazy plays like we normally would love Minkah to get and see from Minkah, again, it's just a level of impact. Like, if he's being up there and quarterbacks are not looking that direction or refuse to throw that direction, then that's all I ask for is just that level of impact.
Well, it's also, I haven't really said anything bad, or I haven't seen anything bad from Minkah all season.
No.
So, yeah, his name hasn't been mentioned much, but it's a good thing because on the other hand, it could be, Minkah just gave up a 70-yard touchdown. Oh, Minkah just missed a tackle.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Minkah...
don't get us wrong. Like, would we like to see some turnovers from Minkah? Of course, absolutely.
Who doesn't?
But, everybody else is making a play, right? Dante Jackson's making a play. Beanie Bishop's making a play. Watts, of course, making plays. Like, if these other guys are making plays, like, great. Like, it showcases that these other guys are very, capable of doing what needs to be done.
Maybe Minkah just got everything out of his system the first 3 years.
I don't know.
I'm just saying. Nah. Minkah's definitely due. I think he's going to at least have one pick in this stretch. I sure hope so.
I think it's inevitable. And again, with the second half of the season, again, we're going to need him.
Just curious, what do you guys think Steelers' first draft pick would be next year? I can't tell you who because I honestly don't know what position they go after. It will probably and maybe be O-line again because Broderick sucks.
Would it?
I don't know.
Would it?
Here's the thing. I don't know. My instinct tells me that they're going to put Broderick at left, or they're going to resign Dan Moore, and they're going to have Fatanu at right, and then Broderick will be either the starting left tackle, or he'll be the swing tackle. Those are two options for the Steelers. They re-sign Dan Moore and make Broderick the swing tackle, or they move Broderick at left tackle and make him the starter and have Fatanu at right, and then they solidify their tackle, quote-unquote. Or Dan Moore walks, and they don't trust Broderick enough, so they draft someone. It doesn't have to be that early again. Would they go tackle 3 straight years? I just don't think that's...
No, I can't see that. I can't.
Because they could... Maybe they go for corner. Maybe Dante doesn't come back after the season. They could go receiver because they need receiver.
Of course.
Okay. Now, before we go to the draft, I would much rather them sign somebody because, let's be honest, the past couple of years we've drafted receivers and haven't found success outside of Pickens. No one's going to be here long term. We haven't seen anything from Roman Wilson, and everyone else is gone outside of Pickens. So is drafting a receiver really the best thing for them to do now? In recent memory, it hasn't worked.
Honestly,
Historically, it has, but recently, it hasn't worked. So I wouldn't want to draft a receiver. I'd much rather make a splash signing for Higgins or Godwin or whoever and solidify that position rather than draft somebody and hope our problems are fixed.
and I know, like, it's week 10, I guess it's too early to talk about free agency, but it's still not a bad thing to think, long term and down the road.
Or could they go defensive line?
Hold on, before you go there, I want to talk about the receivers in the receiver market. In free agency, it's freaking loaded, dude. You got Stephon Diggs, though he's injured. Chris Godwin, though he's injured. T. Higgins, I know he's your number one guy already on that free agency wish list.
I want Higgins or Godwin.
Amari Cooper's another one, guys like that.
I want Higgins or Godwin.
Yeah.
Higgins or Godwin is who I want next year. I want to tell you guys right now, I don't want to draft a receiver. If we have to, whatever. I'd much rather not. I'd much rather sign someone.
Based off the free agency names right now, and the money that they're going to have, they're projected to have, you cannot tell me that they can't sign one of these wide receivers.
I'd much rather sign a receiver. Don't draft one. It hasn't worked in recent years. Sign someone.
And Khan was so aggressive trying to get a receiver throughout the whole offseason, throughout the whole trade deadline. Why would he not try to sign a wide receiver in free agency?
Give me Higgins.
With how he has been in free agency, the splashes and the moves that he's made since being GM, why would he not look at wide receiver?
Give me Higgins or give me Godwin. Either two I'll be beyond happy about. Otherwise, yeah, maybe O-line. Maybe quarterback.
Quarterback could be one. We don't. It's really hard to tell. We really don't know.
Yeah, honestly, at this stage, I don't know because we don't know exactly who's all going to be a free agent, and we all don't know who's going to stay or go.
No idea.
We don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be like for the second half of the season. If it's well enough, they might have to reconsider re-signing Russ and or Fields, but it's not going to be as cheap as it was this year for either guy. So they can afford it for sure. So maybe they don't have to worry about quarterback and they run it back with one of the two guys from this year. Maybe they save the quarterback pick for 2026 when the draft is in Pittsburgh. You guys know who I'm indicating to.
Yeah.
A certain bloodline.
Yeah. Digital Dust says if we don't re-sign Najee, running back is possible.
I don't doubt it. Digital, I don't doubt it.
And it's still not far-fetched to select a running back in the first round. Steelers did it with Najee, and you just look at what the Lions did with Gibbs, what the Falcons did with Robinson.
I don't know. It's just
I know it may not be like the most enticing thing, but what I'm saying is it's not far-fetched from a team to still do it. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right. I don't know if I want another running back in the first round. I think Warren is capable of running, and I would maybe draft someone in the mid-rounds.
They could do that.
Otherwise, if Genty falls, I can't.
I'm looking at Genty. I'm looking at I think the one Ohio State running back, Henderson.
Yeah.
Trayvon Henderson. I'm a fan of his. I like his run style.
Rob, yes, I do think Warren can be running back 1. 100%. I think he can be running back 1.
More than capable of doing it.
If Najee isn't back next year, I do like Warren as running back 1. And then they sign or draft someone to be the rotational piece.
Yeah.
I do like that option. Warren will be back regardless. He's going to be a free agent, but he's going to be a restricted free agent, which means he will be back.
You could just tender him.
They are.
Even then, I would very strongly consider just giving him an extension.
I'd sign
a
them
2-3 year extension at that.
I'd sign them both back.
Yeah. Just do that.
I would sign them both back. Now, Najee, you look at Chuba Hubbard's contract. Najee's going to want at least double digits.
Yeah, isn't his average like a little over $8 million, which is a little like high nowadays?
8.6, I think.
So
Najee's going to get double digits.
You know he's going to be preaching about that. He's going to want that. You know he is.
He's going to get double digits. I don't know if it's going to be from the Steelers.
I don't know, man. I really don't know.
I just make Warren the 1 next year and then sign or draft somebody. Again, otherwise, Genty falls. Kind of hard to pass on him.
Mm-hmm.
He's just too damn explosive.
Little Michael Myers back there.
He's like I don't know. Like he's
just explosive, dude.
well, yeah. I mean, for lack of better terms, I mean, what 5'10", 220 or some shit. I mean,
Actually, looking at here, let me look. Let me look at where he is statistically right now. Right,
Warren will go to Arizona, dude. Why does everyone go to Arizona?
they still got Connor, and Connor's again on pace for another 1,000 yards.
No, I don't think Genty will fall. I'm not saying he's going to. I don't think he
No,
will.
but Genty right now 190 carries for 1,525 yards, which is 8 average a carry,
How many touchdowns?
and 20 touchdowns.
Oh my god.
This man is a heavy front runner for Heisman, at least in my opinion. I don't see how he's not.
God almighty. 5'9", 215. That's ridiculous.
He's got that D Will size.
And he's got
Remember D Will?
Yeah.
Yeah, D Will wasn't the big guy. He was 5'9", about
Yeah,
a
he's
little over
like-
200 pounds.
He's like, yeah, a little D-Will-ish, but like with some crazy breakaway speed. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. How is a guy made that way? Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, but you combined all of that together, you get one hell of a run back for sure.
Obviously. So yeah, next year for the draft, I don't know. I'm not exactly focused on that right now. I mean, it is always a thought in the back of my head, but it's not really a thought right now. Because,
It's always one of those things that from time to time, every now and then, you do think.
well, obviously,
Yeah.
I'm already thinking about Godwin or Higgins next year.
Exactly. Yeah, of course.
So I mean,
they would be great additions.
I do think ahead. I do, but at this stage of the season, I am just focused on let's make a playoff push. You know, let's make a playoff push.
Yeah, just again, one game at a time, man.
Jersey Jerry was saying we should try and get DK from Seattle. That would be great. I would love. I think everyone will love DK. Thing is, I don't think Seattle and Mike McDonald's going to get rid of him.
Well, before the trade deadline, they were not even interested. Whatsoever.
He's the one. Like, they're not getting rid of him.
No, they're not.
If they're going to get rid of a receiver, it's going to be Tyler Lockett.
Because you seen the game that Smith and Jibba had.
Yeah.
Just keeping the Seahawks in that game against the Rams.
Now, honestly,
I also got him in fantasy, by the way.
well, good for you. Seattle, they might be in line to give DK an extension soon because after this year, he's coming into the last year of his contract. Otherwise, he might hit free agency and he might sign somewhere else.
Good.
He has 1 year left after this season, which could indicate Seattle's going to sign him back. Otherwise, he ain't going to hit free agency till 2026.
Right.
So, I just don't see DK leaving Seattle just yet. At least not in the next year. Unless, of course, tensions get high and he requests a trade, and then I'm going to get my hopes up all over again. But I don't think DK's ever been that guy.
No,
And I don't think Seattle's in a position to have that type of drama. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. Nah, the DK never came off as a diva per se, a guy that was just like all about him and whatnot. And they just want to get rid of they want to take DK away from Geno.
Well, okay, because I just searched up DK on Google, and here's a report just a couple days ago, actually, on Bleacher Report. It said DK Metcalf trade rumors. Steelers checked in on Seattle Seahawks star at 2024 NFL deadline. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, the Steelers cracked every window in their search for a receiver, including checking in on Metcalf, but the Seahawks considered the idea of trading him to be a non-starter.
I'm not surprised by that. If that report's true by Jeremy Fowler, I'm not surprised.
Well, Jeremy Fowler is an
Very incredible. So
incredibly reliable source.
Seattle basically saying, non-starter. Of course.
No.
They were never interested to begin with.
No.
Steelers are going to check in on it, of course, but Seattle's basically like, nah, bro. Not happening.
Yeah, that ain't happening. No.
That ain't happening. Best of luck to you. So, nope.
I'm still praying for Higgins or Godwin. And yes, I do want Godwin coming off the injury. Godwin's too good. Godwin is too good. I don't care if he's going to be, 29 next year?
The guy was on pace for a career year, man.
He'll be 29 towards the end of February.
Yeah.
I don't care. He's still playing at an I would say, an elite level. He was on his way to have 1,000 yards Unfortunately, he suffered the injury, which was incredibly avoidable. But
yeah, just seconds away from the end of the game. The game was basically over.
That's all on Todd Bowles. That's all on Todd Bowles, bro.
Yeah.
That's all on Todd Bowles. But, I mean, that's their own problem. So we'll see what happens. I mean, that's in the future. That's for the offseason. But we got the Commanders coming up. And I'm excited for that game, man. I'm very excited for this game. Very evenly matched for both teams. Their best matchups to date. I mean, for each of them. So this is going to be an intense matchup. I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I'm excited for it. I'm very excited for it. You guys know we'll be live for the game. The watch party, the live stream is already up. So if you guys want to, feel free to give it a like. Feel free to do so. We would greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, it is now Saturday. So happy weekend.
It just hit midnight. Yep.
It just hit midnight. So happy weekend. And I guess happy Saturday. Happy college game day. That's going to be a fun watch for later today, I should say. So it's going to be a good weekend, man. I'm hoping the Steelers can cap off the weekend with a win versus the Commanders and keep stacking wins before we got the Ravens, man. So hoping that's the case. I still don't understand why Devontae went to the Jets instead of coming to Pittsburgh. Well, it's simple. Aaron Rodgers.
A-Rod. That's it.
I'm
That's
sure.
all he needed.
I hope he's happy. Joey Porter versus Scary Terry will be a battle. That's going to be an intense watch. Absolutely. Joey Porter Jr. is going to have to step up, man. He's having a solid year this year, but he's going to have a, tough matchup for sure. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see you guys on Sunday. We appreciate you guys for joining us for this live stream. Always appreciate you guys. And shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring this live stream. Feel free to check out their promo, 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. And 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at BetUS.com today. Again, the Steelers wagers are listed on BetUS.com. Feel free to take any wagers, plus use their prop builder to build anything you want for that game or any game for Week 10 and onward. So thanks to them for sponsoring. Thanks to you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. Enjoy your guys' Saturday. Enjoy your guys' night, and we'll see you guys for tomorrow game day. It's going to be exciting, man. See you in the next one. Here we go, Steelers.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Peace!